All right. So first video we're going to be reacting to is first impressions with Dragonflight with Asmon. So I've been personally having a lot of fun with it, but let's see what he says. And there it is. All right, let's take a look.
What's up, boys? Today I want to talk to you about Dragonflight, my first impressions with the expansion, and just in general, sit outside for the first time in a long time, actually. It's been a while since my first impressions with the game. Now,
Sorry.
before anybody goes and gets too wild, I want to say one thing. Usually, the problems with the expansions do not manifest themselves until a couple of weeks into the first season, a
Oh,
couple of months into
there it
the
is.
expansion.
Cool.
Then you start to see where the problems are. But we're at that good
That's true.
point right now in the game where the truth is that it doesn't really seem like it's that bad. It's actually kind of fun, if you can imagine that. I went through the leveling process. I'm level 70 now. I've gotten a few pieces of epic gear. I've done some of the dungeons. I've gone through some of the reputations.
I didn't do too much of those kind of things. I've honestly been messing with alts and getting crafting done on them. Like today, man, I worked on so many crafting things. Like it's kind of crazy. I don't think I'm gonna make my money back on a lot of it, but it's fun. Right now, like with ore, well, I'll talk about it later. But
did all the dragon riding stuff, and I want to talk to you about it today. But I do want to say that this is in no way, shape, or form a review or a comprehensive evaluation of the expansion. It's just simply my impressions of it playing the game. So the first thing
that's a review, technically. I mean, it's not a complete review because the game's not completely out. A lot of that stuff is still time gated, so I mean, I see what he's talking about, but at the same time, it's also kind of a review for at least this beginning part of the expansion.
is the actual launch of the expansion. I think that in general, the launch went very well for me. I've gotten relatively lucky with launches. And the reason why I say lucky is that there are some servers that just completely got fucked. This happened in BFA, it
Yeah,
happened in Shadowlands, it happened in Legion. It
mine wasn't
happens
too
every
bad,
fucking time
but
where there's just one server or two servers or a handful of them that is just completely dysfunctional for the first day or two. And obviously that's bad, but in general, the launch was relatively smooth for me and what I would say probably the majority of people, outside of some disconnect issues that I think in many cases had to do with joining instances or being on your dragon.
I've been getting
So the
disconnected
leveling
every now and then.
process, as soon as I got in,
Still,
was actually very good. I enjoyed the leveling process a lot more than I enjoyed it in Shadowlands and also in
yes,
BFA. In Legion, I think I probably also enjoyed it more than in Legion. I think that in general, the
Legion is pretty
story
good too.
was it was
That's saying something.
they were all told, like each of the different zones were told separately, but they were all part of a greater narrative. I think also one point where, I mean, this is not really a first impressions, this is, I think, a fucking fact, that the in-game cinematics with like the character models and the rigging that they have for facial expressions, etc.,
They're
and you
way
can see
better.
this explicitly with Calagos,
I don't know about Final
is way
Fantasy,
better.
but
It is like fucking insane how much better it is than it was last expansion, and even more
yeah,
so than the expansion before that. It doesn't look as I don't know, as fake, I guess you could say, and it just was really really good. And I think actually the stories of the different zones was a lot better than what we got in Shadowlands, and I think it was also a lot
100%.
better than what we got outside of probably BFA. Besides maybe
Honestly, feels like
The Jaina storyline
almost feels like Wrath, like when you first played Wrath of the Lich King, like that kind of leveling. At least that's kind of my impression of it.
and the Drusvar arc, which I thought was pretty cool. Other than that, I think that it's been a massive step up in terms of narrative storytelling, in terms of showing the characters in the world actually like interacting with each other. The
Yeah,
cinematics are better, the dialogue is better. I would say that just in pretty much all cases, it's a massive improvement. I think one of the uh, one of the best examples of why I think that it's very good is that, like, whenever you're doing the first zone and there's like this dwarf that's like sitting off, like looking out into the
I know what he's
distance,
talking about.
and you go through and you do a bunch of dialogue with him, and then after you finish the dialogue, you unlock a special quest to do for him. Well, the thing is that whenever there was a post about this, everybody responded to the post saying how great it was and how much they liked it. And in general, they knew who this dwarf was and they thought that it was a sympathetic story in a way that they were able to relate to and respond to. And I think that's really impressive because whenever I think back to a lot of the main characters in Shadowlands, I honestly don't give a fuck about any of them. I think they're stupid, they were pointless, and the character development was generally awful.
I
Besides
can't.
Denathrius, who was
I don't know if I can blame the writers too much. They weren't really given a really good plot to work with. Because the characters, like, there were some here and there that I was kind of interested in their story. Kind of wish they went more deeper into it. But in general, they just shit all over like characters that people liked, which was like a really bad way of making people care about a story.
fucking Giga Chad. Everybody else sucked.
Denathrius, yeah.
So anyway, besides that,
He was like
I would also
Denathrius was probably the best villain in Shadowlands, like by far.
say that just dragon riding throughout the entire expansion
Should have been
reminded
the
me a
main
lot of
villain.
Cataclysm. I know this is going to be one of my more hot takes. I actually really enjoyed Cataclysm. I think that's for a lot of reasons outside of video gaming, though. You know, like where I was in my life, what I was doing, etc. You know, how old I was. I
I thought
think that was probably a
Cataclysm
bigger
was
reason
okay.
why I enjoyed Cataclysm more so than the content. But nonetheless, I did enjoy Cataclysm, and it reminded me a lot of that, being able to fly around after after just being part of the zone just right then, actually, well, with Cataclysm. And I really enjoyed that, and I really liked being able to learn dragon riding and also like collect the
Like no lying, dragon riding feels way better than in Guild Wars. I don't know of anyone who played Guild Wars in Unlock the Dragon. It's a bit of a bit pain to do, to be honest. It took quite a while. Um, at least when I played it. I don't know if anything's changed. I doubt it, because Guild Wars doesn't really change stuff like that. But man, Dragon riding in Warcraft is just so much better, hands down. Like I can see the concept they got from Guild Wars, like especially the momentum building, but like the overall feel of it is just better. And the vigor system, like it really, like after playing with Warcraft, it's like man, Guild Wars needs something like that. Um, I still think in Dragonflight they should add more of the things that they add in the trials, the flying trials, like the speed ups, the push, like the things that pop you up. Like those things should just be out in the world. Like I really wish they would do more.
little dragon symbols and the tokens that like make your dragon run faster or sorry fly faster and do all those things and then learning the nuances of it and doing the advanced trials now. I think that it's very enjoyable and it's just straight up fun. And I think that
Yeah, those trials are just, even though they don't really give anything, or maybe they do, I just never notice. I do them for fun.
Blizzard focusing more on fun and just adding content into the game that is
Yeah,
enjoyable that people want to do an interface with.
that includes the man. What a weird place to pause, but that includes like the professions. Like I've not got into professions in WoW since like Burning Crusade, maybe. I may have touched it in Wrath, but like honestly, I didn't. Like I have not given a damn about it. But now, like that's really all I want to do. I've been doing and want to do for a little bit. Maybe I'll get bored of it, start doing other stuff. But I really like the professions so far in Dragonflight. So
I think this is just such a much more sustainable model for development versus
yes,
trying to create people that are, like they're logging in every day to do their Torghast or to do some sort of calling quest or some fucking bullshit.
yeah. I mean, you basically have it where there aren't really a lot of like must logins for. Obviously, if you're wanting to like get the best gear possible, you're gonna want to log in, do certain things. But it's like an actual good variety of stuff that you can work towards to kind of all lead to that same end goal of being geared.
Because of some system that if you get behind on, you lose your raid spot with, or you can't get into pugs anymore because you don't have it. I think that the shift away from that, and even Ian, I think, talked about this in the Preach video, the Mike Preach Wild, by the way. I would massively recommend watching this video. It's over an hour long and it's worth every minute. But he actually even referred to it as the AP era. You have artifact power,
Yeah,
Azerite power, and anima power. Um, that was the AP era, And that's basically something that they are saying this is behind us. We're not going to do this anymore.
I mean, it took them almost a decade, though.
And thank God for that. What a
Yeah,
massive relief. And I think
better
that
late than
the
never, I
focus
guess.
on just a more relaxed tone, I like the storylines in the game. I think they're more interesting. I think they're more personal. I think that that's one of the things that really has been missing with WoW is having characters that you feel a personal connection to. And I think that with Shadow
I don't know why it's bugging me. His hair, because it's kind of like hazy-ish towards like the back. Like it almost looks like he's in CG right now. It's freaking weird.
Lands or fuck, not with Shadowlands, with Dragonflight. I think it's
Dragonlands.
that's much more evident. It's much more clear,
That would
and I
be
think that having
hilarious
the
if
better
they named the expansion Dragonlands. Oh my goodness. I don't know how many like memes that would have generated because of Shadowlands.
rigging for those characters helps humanize them that much more, even whenever they are dragons. So yeah, quests were great. Leveling experience was great. It was also very fast. I would say leveling was faster than it was in previous expansions, and I definitely appreciate that. I don't really want to go through and spend a whole lot of time leveling my character for the 18th time or something like this. And I
Yeah.
also like how leveling ends, and then you can continue doing the storyline, but you don't have to right away. You don't have to do that. You can go do something else after you actually hit max level at 70. And I
Yeah.
also find that very much appreciated because I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go out and do the mythic dungeons and, fuck around, exploit some mobs. It was a good time. I got 279, 379 weapons out of that. Hopefully Blizzard doesn't take
Damn.
those away from me. So yeah, I had a really good time doing that. And I think in general, the philosophy around providing tools for the player to have fun with, but not telling them how to have fun has been a massive improvement. And I
100%. Totally agree. I also really like that once you do finish the main story and you want to level an ult, like you can literally choose whatever zone you want to, which is really nice. I think Shadowlands did similar. I forget what the feature is called, but yeah, that's really nice.
I've really enjoyed it a lot. And overall, I think the leveling experience has been the best it has been in a long, long, long time. And it's very
Feels good.
overdue. So, yeah, leveling experience, absolutely S tier, amazing, cinematic.
One thing I'm pretty sure they don't do is the reputation. Like that should be shared across the account. If it's not, I mean, if it is, great, but I'm pretty sure it's not, and it really should be.
Huge improvement, the best they've pretty much ever done in terms of you might not enjoy the actual cinematic, the subject matter of the cinematic, but I think that if you look at the way that the characters are moving and the designs and everything like that, I think that this is also the best it's ever been, and that's great to see. Dungeons, I think that in general, I've enjoyed the dungeons. They're fine. I am a little bit exhausted from you always like this is like a thing now with WoW, and like every time that you do a mythic dungeon, like every trash mob has like three separate abilities, and
You see it right. Like this is warping. Like it's not just me going crazy, is it?
it can be a bit exhausting to do with that like throughout the entire
Look, it's
dungeon.
like
I don't know how that's going to feel
warping
on
the
Mythic Plus.
background.
I
Maybe
think that a lot of the
I have
dungeons that
messed
people are
up eyes.
steamrolling
That could
and
be it.
thinking are very easy in Mythic Zero, I think they're going to be for a very rude awakening.
I didn't catch what he said. I'm so sorry. I'm I feel like I'm going crazy.
Always like this is like a thing now with WoW, and like every time that you do a mythic dungeon, like every trash mob has like three separate abilities, and it can be a bit exhausting to do with that like throughout the entire dungeon. I don't know how that's going to feel on Mythic Plus. I think that a lot of the dungeons that people are steamrolling and thinking are very easy in Mythic Zero, I think they're going to be for a very rude awakening in Mythic Plus, but we'll have to wait and see.
That's usually the case, though. At least from my past experience with Mythic. I didn't do much of it, so who knows?
Maybe that's just my own opinion. But overall, I've really had fun playing the expansion. Dragon riding has been a lot of fun, and I hope they continue to make more content out of it. And I think there's one really good way to make more content out of it is to just add dragon riding to the entire game, and then just let people
They should have done that. I have no idea why they haven't.
choose
Because it's not like you can get places with dragon riding that you wouldn't have been able to with your normal mount.
Whether they want to use dragon riding or normal flying mounts. There is a lot of value in using a normal flying mount because you can just simply tab out, jerk off, come back into the game, and you're already where you need to be. Or you're 10 feet out or 10 miles out into the great ocean,
Yes.
I was just about to say that. Or you're like fatigued and about to die.
and you're dead and you have to take res sick. One or the other, it's either way something that is very convenient. So what I'm really trying to say is that I hope they add dragon riding and they add a little bit more of those different little time trials and the flying missions around the open world and the old world as well in Azeroth and maybe Outland, Northrend, etc. I think the entire player base seems to really enjoy, well, almost the entire player base. There's never everybody that likes something, but many people really seem to enjoy dragon riding, and I'll be honest, I'm one of them. I think it's
I think the only times I don't like dragon riding is when farming materials, like mining, herbalism, whatever it is. Those are really just the two. When you run out of vigor, like you have to tap out and do something else. It takes a little. I think it takes too long, honestly. Like it should be like twice as fast when you're on the ground. I don't mean like the fly when your vigor regenerates while you're flying at like the high speed one. That one's I think perfectly fine. But when you're on the ground, that or they should have it where killing things nets you one vigor or two vigor or even three. I think would be fair to be honest. That way you can at least do something real quick to get it back up. But as is, it's kind of bad when you're like completely out.
great. There's been a lot of people I see out there. Oh my god, I thought that was a wasp. Oh my god.
His
All
arch
right. So
nemesis.
anyway, it was not. It was a moth. So yeah, I think a lot of people like dragon riding, and it's been enjoyable. The classes are fun to play, and it really is just going to depend on kind of how things evolve and how
Yeah, the classes are really fun. I've been having a blast with both monk and demonology. Hunter's always kind of fun. It's kind of the same play style it's always been though. Who else has been interesting? Tanking with paladin. I like that.
Blizzard changes the game and makes it different after the first line of feedback is received, after the first expansion or season comes out, and we really start to see the nuts and bolts of the game, and we get to actually play
Yeah,
it to its full potential. I think that's really where the expansions become truly tested. Is how do these functions work whenever they're actually put in a competitive environment? How do
yeah.
they work whenever people are
Well, not really competitive. That's not. I don't know if I would use that word. Um, because competitiveness. I mean, let's be fair. The majority of the player base probably isn't going to be too involved in that part of it. So that doesn't really make or break an expansion. It's the systems, in-game systems, is really what's going to make or break it. That's usually the case. Is if the systems are tiring, if just thinking about doing them just makes your day worse, then that's a problem. Like with Torghast and stuff. Torghast itself was fine. The fact that it made it a chore was the problem. So
using them regularly and the honeymoon period is worn off, that's what's really going to
yeah,
define whether Dragonflight is a good expansion or not. But I think the actions that Blizzard has already taken with Dragonflight and the way that they've taken those actions indicates that they really do want to make the game better for the players.
honestly, I think they've done like really good for most things. Obviously, here and there, they could change things. Like the reputation should be account wide. It really should. The um, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word? The work order system I think needs work. Like there should be better implementation of it. Like I think as it is right now, like it's gonna get like little to no use.
And
They could change as the expansion progresses, and I have a feeling it will, but I don't think it's going to change that as much as maybe Blizzard thinks it is.
I do not really say that lightly. I think that in many cases that hasn't been the case. And for some people who are doomers, I will absolutely throw you guys a bone. It is absolutely indefensible to not have the creation catalyst available on week one for season one. And I think it's fucking ridiculous. They should just let people get their tier gear and then that's that. And it's not a big deal. If you're worried about people quitting the game after they get their tier gear, that's a problem with the game, not the tier gear.
Yeah, like the end goal should not be getting max item level. Getting max item level should just be another tool in your repertoire of doing other things in the game.
So, in general, I do think that there are some things that Dragonflight can absolutely improve on.
Oh yeah,
Things like making Soar for Drakthir not as good. I don't really see the value in this. It was very stupid for them to do that, in my opinion. But
I don't
overall,
know
I
what he's
think that
talking
a
about.
lot of the changes that have been made to the game have been made on such a foundation.
I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of the dragon thing. Like I don't like that is your armor really on it? From what I saw, it wasn't the case, which I don't know why they didn't do that. Like the Worgans have it, just do something similar.
Level that I've always said that an expansion,
Like now that I think about it, it's like why didn't they have it like the Worgans?
in order
Doesn't
to
make
make
sense.
WoW a good game again, it will not take an expansion, it will take two or three. It seems as though
I don't think it will take two or three. I think you can make a good game with just one expansion. You just gotta make like the mindset had to be totally different, which it seems like it is. So I think Dragonflight will be a good expansion if they keep going forward with kind of what they've already done and kind of lean more into it. Um, I mean, as he said, there's a lot of things that could be changed to make it better, but uh, a lot of the changes they did were all positive. I can't think of a single thing that was like a negative change. I'm sure there
Dragonflight could be
probably
the
probably is, but yeah, to make a great game, yeah, I agree. It has gonna need more than one expansion, but not for just a normal good game.
first one. We have a long way to go. I'm glad Blizzard has started listening, and I hope they continue to listen. And I hope people can enjoy the game and give good feedback as well on how to make it even better.
It's not that they never listened; it's just they never did anything when they supposedly listened. Like I think that the preach video shows that they knew about the issues, they just didn't bother doing anything about it because in their minds, like everyone's working on the new like an expansion or two in the future, and it's like you guys have to have some developers on the one that's currently out at least. Like hire more people if you have to, but there should be a team specifically for adjusting mechanics in the current expansion. Obviously, not building them up like completely new, but like fixing any major flaws. Like the covenant system, within the first month, the switching between covenants should have been a thing. Like there really is no excuse, period, for that to have lasted anywhere near as long as it did.
So, yeah, I've enjoyed Dragonflight a lot. I've had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun at the beginning of Shadowlands too, and
I did not.
also at the very beginning of BFA, less so with Legion. But in general, there's always going to be that early honeymoon.
Really? I really like Legion. Then again, I joined Legion a little late, so a lot of the catch up mechanics were there, which I know people hated, but for someone who came in late, like it really helped.
Phase for the game where you enjoy it and you have fun. And it's nice to be in one of those right now. I hope it lasts for as long as possible. And I hope that whenever it wears off, we'll at least have a decent game whenever we can actually look back and see what's really going on. And if we don't, I hope Blizzard listens and can improve it as soon as possible rather than waiting to withhold changes for content later on. So, yeah, that's
Exactly.
in general the way I feel about Dragonflight. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think about it. But to be completely honest, the sun
Exactly.
is going down and it's going to be dark in about 5 or 10 minutes. So I'm going to end the video here. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and I will be playing through pretty much everything on Dragonflight on Twitch. Obviously, you guys see on the YouTube videos, etc. So I will be doing more of that. So I'll see you guys there. I had to end stream early today, so I figured I would do one of these instead. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Peace.
Always appreciate it. So, so a lot of what he said, I definitely do agree with. Um, like, yeah, I've said it before. Like, it's looking really positive with Dragonflight, and I know some people think that's like copium, but to me, it's like, so what? I don't lose really anything by having fun with what's available now. If it turns to shit, then I'll just play something else. But like for now, like it's a good game. Like I'm gonna play it, gonna have fun with it, gonna level my ults. I don't know about trying to max out gear. Like maybe I'll just wait until that's, you know, the raids and stuff are more out season one or whatever. So yeah, that's the first impressions with Dragonflight with Asmongold, and it was a good video. I really like that.